Franz and the Count went downstairs, accompanied by Peppino. At the door they found the carriage. Ali was on the box, in whom Franz recognized the dumb slave of the Grotto of Monte Cristo. Franz and the Count got into the carriage. Peppino placed himself beside Ali, and they set off at a rapid pace. Ali had received his instructions, and went down the Corso, crossed the Campo Vicino, went up the Strada San Gregorio, and reached the gates of St. Sebastian. Then the porter raised some difficulties, but the Count of Monte Cristo produced a permit from the governor of Rome, allowing him to leave or enter the city at any hour of the day or night. The portcullis was therefore raised. The porter had a louis for his trouble, and they went on their way. The road which the carriage now traversed was the ancient Appian Way, and bordered with tombs. From time to time, by the light of the moon, which began to rise, Franz imagined that he saw something like a sentinel appear at various points among the ruins, and then suddenly retreat into the darkness on a signal from Peppino. A short time before they reached the Baths of Caracalla, the carriage stopped. Peppino opened the door, and the Count and Franz alighted. "In 10 minutes," said the Count to his companion, "we shall be there." He then took Peppino aside, gave him an order in a low voice, and Peppino went away, taking with him a torch, brought with them in the carriage. 5 minutes elapsed, during which Franz saw the shepherd going along the narrow path that led over the irregular and broken surface of the Campagna, and finally he disappeared in the midst of the tall red herbage, which seemed like the bristling mane of an enormous lion. I really like the kind of transformative nature of passages. I think we've talked about this on the show before, but not to this extent, because I recently saw a movie called Hokum, a scary movie. Been watching a lot of movies about journeys and descents into madness, or, descents just through distance and traveling, and the passage from safety into danger, or the further you get deeper into a place that is unseen. I don't know. There's a symbolism to it that always kind of excites me. It's hard to kind of know to what extent I need to be calibrating my danger senses here, because the Count feels like he's in full control over everything. Franz is just a passenger to Dante's little roller coaster here. But I wonder if, we are making that prestige HBO miniseries of this. Is this a moment when we can visually symbolize exactly how deep and dark Dante's psyche has become? Franz is now stepping inside of the world of Dante, who associates with murderous bandits, who, can shape reality with his wealth, who has been corrupted by revenge. Could this be one of those moments where we get a visual representation of what has been going on psychologically? They're going from, the Corso to the Campo Vicino, and they eventually reach the gates of St. Sebastian, but from there, we get the passage of the road which the carriage now traversed was the ancient Appian Way, which is a very, very, very old road in Rome, and was lined with tombs and ruins, and makes for a perfect kind of Gothic setting. And we're setting it at night for a clandestine meeting. Like, we are leaving the Hotel de Londres and essentially descending through civilization of Rome, past tombs and a graveyard and the ruins of, an ancient civilization, to then go to catacombs. It does feel like a sort of descent into darkness, or hell, if you want to go that far with it. And this is where I always have to check myself, because then I start to make these these connections that probably aren't there. But the fact that they are taking this passage and it feels symbolic of entering into, the dark psychology of Dante, you pair that with his privilege, what his wealth gets him, and suddenly it paints a new picture for me. that line there about the Count of Monte Cristo produced a permit from the governor, allowing him to leave or enter the city at any hour of the day or night. Obviously, it's indicating Dante's connections, what his wealth and networking have gotten him over the years, but it is, what is he using it for? He's using it for a passageway into darkness. He is opening up the gates of the underworld and bringing Franz along with him, because this is where he resides. I mean, maybe not physically, but this is where all of his operations take place, in the dark, in shadows. Even his abode on the islet of Monte Cristo is in this dark grotto that he has fitted out with all of his jewels and candles and who knows what. It's all happening outside of the eye of day and civilization and society. So I don't think it's too far of a stretch to assume the symbolism is reflective of Dante's state of mind, and Franz is just along for the ride. But let's not forget that poor Albert is presumably waiting to be rescued. Is this all just a ruse, though, for Albert and Franz's sake? Does Dante have complete control in this situation? There's only one way to find out, and that's to keep reading, so join me here tomorrow with a little bit more of Book 37. Until then, okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.